Tulsi Gabbard announced her run over the weekend. She is now the third, I think, or fourth officially declared candidate running for president. And I said that when I covered her announcement, I said, listen, there's a lot to like about Tulsi Gabbard. I think she is the strongest as against the military-industrial complex. I think she's been the strongest, even stronger than Bernie Sanders, as far as ending these never-ending wars that are really, they're not even wars to protect America. They're just wars for regime change so we could insert U.S. friendly business dictators who are equally as brutal as the dictators we're getting rid of, but are just better for our business interests. I think she's been the clearest against regime change. She has come out courageously against Syria, dating back to 2013. The media wanted to make it a big stink that she had the audacity to meet with Bashar al-Assad. Well, Barack Obama met with the King of Jordan, who's a brutal dictator. Barack Obama met with this crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, who, as you see, go ask Jamal Khashoggi, sorry, if he's a nice guy. And go ask Yemen if the crown prince of Saudi Arabia is someone we want to meet with. So I've never had a problem with Saudi Arabia, Tulsi Gabbard meeting with Bashar al-Assad, because she was meeting with him not to have tea. She was meeting with him to try and find a political solution to end the brutal Syrian civil war. And that's what I think she would do as president. Not, launch missiles first, ask questions later, not bomb, 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 as the dearly departed criminal John McCain said, bomb, 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 Iran. She actually sees the larger implications of endless U.S. war, regime change, and all that. But with the good comes some bad about Tulsi Gabbard, which I already reported on. And I've been reading the comments. Some of you don't like that I reported on these things. Some of you think I wasn't being fair. La, la, la. That's fine. You don't have to agree with me on everything. However, I do think I was fair to Tulsi Gabbard. I am certainly going to try to get an interview with her for the channel because she's running for president. She definitely made some concerning comments about the LGBTQ community. A lot of those comments, frankly, are because of her upbringing. She was raised in a very, very conservative family. Her father, Mike Gabbard, was a local politician in Hawaii. And frankly, he was very, very strongly against homosexuals and same-sex marriage. So as his daughter, she picked up a lot of that philosophy. However, unlike Hillary Clinton, it seems like her evolution did not start, 5 minutes before she wanted to run for president, which was Hillary Clinton's case. But it seems like Tulsi Gabbard's evolution began many, many years ago, basically in terms of ruling against trying to legislate against same-sex marriage and these things, saying the government has no business deciding who could get married, who can't, those kinds of things. But what I said when I first reported it is I want to hear what Tulsi Gabbard feels in her heart personally. For me, it's important that if somebody's calling themselves progressive, of course we don't have to agree on everything, but I want to know that we agree on basic human rights. And if you have something personally against the homosexual lifestyle, I have a problem with that. So that does, obviously Tulsi Gabbard isn't going to win the presidency if Jordan likes her. She has to, get full appeal. So she did a video. It was released today. I actually, I'll tell you what I think after. I'll play it, and let's see what you guys think.
Aloha. In my past, I said and believed things that were wrong. And worse, they were very hurtful to people in the LGBTQ community and to their loved ones. Many years ago, I apologized for my words and, more importantly, for the negative impact that they had. I sincerely repeat my apology today. I'm deeply sorry for having said them. My views have changed significantly since then, and my record in Congress over the last 6 years reflects what is in my heart: a strong and ongoing commitment to fighting for LGBTQ rights. Now, I know that LGBTQ people still struggle. They're still facing discrimination, still facing abuse, and still fear that hard-won rights are going to be taken away by people who hold views like I used to. That cannot happen, because every American deserves to be treated equally by their fellow Americans and under the law. I will continue to fight for LGBTQ people, whether they're in school, serving in uniform, trying to get health care, taking care of their family, or looking for a home. Now, I grew up knowing that every person is a child of God and equally loved by God. And I've always believed in the fundamental rights and equality of all people. But I also grew up in a socially conservative household, where I was raised to believe that marriage should only be between a man and a woman. So for a period of my life, I didn't see the contradiction in those beliefs. While many Americans may be able to relate to growing up in a conservative home, my story's a little different because my father was very outspoken. He was an activist who was fighting against gay rights and marriage equality in Hawaii. And at that time, I forcefully defended him and his cause. But over the years, as I grew up, I formed my own opinions based on my life experiences that significantly changed my views at a very personal level in truly having aloha, love for all people, and making sure that every American, regardless of sexual orientation, is treated equally under the law. I look forward to being able to share more of my story and my experiences growing up, not as an excuse, but in the hopes that it may inspire others to truly live aloha, to love and care for others. When we deny LGBT people the basic rights that exist for every American, we're denying their humanity, denying that they are equal. And we're also creating a dangerous environment that breeds discrimination and violence. Because when we divide people based on who they are or who they love, all we're doing is adding fuel to the flames that perpetuate bigotry and hatred. Now, I'm so grateful to my friends, my loved ones, both gay and straight, who have patiently helped me see how my past positions on these issues were at odds with my values, my aloha, and that they were causing people harm. I regret the role that I played in causing such pain, and I remain committed to fighting for LGBT equality.
So that was Tulsi Gabbard. I don't know where she was, but I want to go. That looks very scenic back there. And I love how many times she says aloha. That's just a personal preference of mine. So I actually, you might call me a homer. You might say I'm not being as hard on her as I would a corrupt corporate Democrat. But I really don't have any reason to doubt that she's being sincere. She did say many years ago that her views started to change actually after her service in the Middle East. She was a war veteran in Iraq and I believe Afghanistan too. She saw how oppressive those societies were towards just, women who just showing skin and those kinds of things. And she started to realize that her views that really were formed by her father. I mean, obviously we can't excuse our poor philosophies and our poor decisions solely on our parents, but the way we're raised does inform our views to a certain extent before we become adults and can think for ourselves. And through her actions, it seems that she started evolving on this many years ago, and her time in the Middle East definitely played a part in that. So when I look at it, you can't get into somebody's mind or heart. Some can say, oh, she got a talking to and that's why she's doing this. I think that it's something that her campaign, who I know who her campaign manager is. Her name's Rania. She was deputy campaign manager for Bernie Sanders. So this is a progressive woman running her campaign. I'm sure that they prepared her. Hey, if you're going to run, you're going to have to address this. So I'm sure it's something she already knew. The thing that stood out to me, again, I can't get in her mind, but the thing that stood out to me which makes me believe personally, not just as a politician, but personally, she views, gay people just like anyone else, is when she started talking about, humanity. And they are the same as far as humanity as anyone else. That didn't come off like scripted. She's not, I mean, I don't think she was reading from a teleprompter. So it seems to me that she's being genuine. It does. Also, in terms of policy, she has been right on LGBTQ policy and voted for just about everything that produces equal rights for LGBT in the workplace and in society. So definitely on the policy, she's been right. And I think all we could do with politicians, especially ones that are walking the walk on a lot of the issues progressives champion, she does not take a shit ton of Wall Street money. She does not take a shit ton of big oil money. I don't like her positions on some things. I think she does have to answer for her views on torture, which I didn't report on yet because I wanted to look into it more. She did say some troubling things as far as torture being, it depends on the circumstance and this and that. And, unequivocally, I could say it does not depend on the circumstance. So we will need to see what her thoughts on that are. Overall, on this issue, listen, I'm not homosexual, so I can't. Obviously, if you are, you would be listening a little bit more critically, and you might still not be satisfied with what she said. But all someone could do is apologize. All somebody could do is say, I evolved based on A, B, and C. I was kind of surprised she didn't talk about her service in Afghanistan and Iraq, because based on previous statements she made, she said that was kind of when she became, started her evolution to see homosexuals and the LGBT community no different than anybody else. But that's what I want to see out of a politician. I don't expect, and we don't expect, all politicians to be perfect. No human being is. I generally pride myself in being able to sniff out those who are not sincere, those who are just being politically expedient and saying whatever the hell they have to do, whenever they have to do it, to get ahead. Speaking of Beto O'Rourke, Kamala Harris, Kirsten Gillibrand, Cory Booker. Sorry, something's coming over me. But, the bottom line is, you either believe her or you don't, right? It's not more complicated to that. But the bigger picture, listen, I always tell you what I'm for. I don't tell people how to vote. You vote for whoever you want. I'm a big fan of Tulsi Gabbard. From what I see, I think Tulsi Gabbard overall is equally, if not more, progressive than Elizabeth Warren, because I don't like Elizabeth Warren on foreign policy. She voted for this disastrous $715 billion defense budget, which is just a blank check for more regime change, for more war. I don't know how you could be Elizabeth Warren and be talking about, corruption and revitalizing the middle class and all these things. You can't revitalize the middle class if we're at war all over the world and we don't prioritize our country. And I think Elizabeth Warren hasn't showed up to a lot of battles. And that's another thing about Tulsi Gabbard. You got to look at actions. She was the only politician that came to Standing Rock, other than Jill Stein, who was running for president. Even Bernie didn't come to Standing Rock. Frankly, he was running for president, so I'm not going to hammer him over it. But Tulsi Gabbard came to Standing Rock. So obviously, she sees, she does fight for the downtrodden. She does fight for those being persecuted and for those victims of injustice all over this country. But with that said, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. If Bernie Sanders runs, it's Bernie for me. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard, there's nothing wrong with Tulsi Gabbard. But if Bernie Sanders announces, I'm a Bernie bro all the way. That doesn't mean, as I always say, I'm not going to cheerlead for Bernie Sanders on the campaign trail. If he does things that I view as concerning, I will report it. If he does things that I find out are corrupt, I will report it. But Tulsi Gabbard to me, and I'm not saying this at all because she's a woman, so let's get that out of the way. Tulsi Gabbard to me, I just see like a Secretary of Defense. I see Vice President. I see Secretary of State. For what, if Bernie doesn't run, we could have a different discussion. But I don't. If Bernie runs, I just can't choose her over Bernie. I can't. But I am for Tulsi. However, with that said, I do have sourcing, good sourcing, that Bernie Sanders is announcing a run for president in the coming weeks. And I got to tell you, it doesn't matter now. First, Bernie would have to win the nomination. If you're asking me who should be the vice president, and I think there's a clear answer, and her name is Nina Turner. It's not to say there's anything wrong with Tulsi Gabbard. I like Tulsi Gabbard a lot. But as somebody who really, really, I think, has cultivated a skill to sniff out bullshit and see who is real and who is not real, to me, there's something about Nina Turner that is no bullshit. And it's just what you see is what you get. I've talked to her off camera. I've talked to her on camera. It's authentic. And I think that's what we need along with Bernie Sanders. I'm not saying Tulsi Gabbard isn't that way, but I just don't know her on an interpersonal level the same way I do Nina Turner. So that's why I say Nina Turner. And frankly, let's keep it real. I think Nina Turner would help Bernie Sanders in a lot of the demographics that he didn't do as well in 2016. I kept it real. I covered everything. I don't like her LGBTQ comments, but today satisfies me that she has come around on that. Didn't love her comments. Oh, you're going on Fox News railing. We need to call it radical Islam. I disagree with that. Words matter, phrases matter. Islam is a religion. Okay, Islam is a religion, and actually, believe it or not, I had a Muslim girlfriend in 9th grade. I never read the Quran, but I know a little bit. And the Quran and Islam does not preach blowing yourself up or attacking other countries or what ISIS does. So those are just terrorists, but calling it radical Islam is basically blanketing an entire religion. This is how, besides being a corporate douchebag now, this is how I began losing respect for Bill Maher, because Bill Maher became a big Islamophobe with this, call it radical Islam, call it radical Islam. No, Islam is a peaceful religion. We cannot say ISIS is radical Islam. They're just radical terrorists. And I think that's important. I did see some comments under that video attacking me, why won't you call it that? Because that's not what it is. And words do matter. So, and I didn't like her comments on torture, which were kind of hemming and hawing. Well, if you knew that your family or a family member was within like an hour of being killed, wouldn't you do anything? Well, I would do anything that actually works. I would do anything that actually works, because torture, the research and the psychology of it shows they'll say just about anything to make it stop. So it's not effective, and more importantly, it's immoral. So that's what I think.